And here we are in Tal'Darim Altar. The blue Protoss up here in the top left corner is going to be Mouz.HasuObs, representing Mouse Sports, of course. Over on the other side, in the top right corner, we have Acer.DarkHydra, the green Terran player. So close-ish spawns, not totally all the way across the map. Looks like the Terran player, DarkHydra, will actually be at a little bit of an advantage, if I say so, because he has that exposed cliff around the natural of HasuObs. What do you think about that, the positions we got here?
Well, with the positions here, it's going to be a really, really difficult game for our Terran player to try and grab that third base, really, is what I have to think about. Because, I mean, it not only does it have the destructible rocks, but it's just way in the front of the Protoss's attack path. That's going to allow that Protoss to kind of go back and forth between either the third base or the natural. And not only that, but on Tal'Darim Altar, you have some really harsh choke points to deal with, and those Sentry Force Fields are going to be absolutely devastating.
That is a good point.
We're going to have to watch how that's going to play out here for Hydra.
Definitely a good point there with the force fieldable ramps and stuff like that. HasuObs actually can just build his Nexus there and has two separate entrances into that base that he could be able to fortify. We'll see where he actually ends up placing his pylons and stuff like that if and when he expands. But right now, DarkHydra plugging that little tiny choke a little bit between his main and his natural with just a supply depot before going and getting scouting. One thing that the Terran player might be able to do, instead of dropping a third at that destructible rock area, he could drop it just below his main. Basically, he can just build a command center in his main and drop it down there, and HasuObs would still need to take some extra effort to get all the way across the map over there to start attacking. But Hydra has his first barracks up now. He is going to scout in the wrong direction, go all the way across the map, but HasuObs has already discovered DarkHydra up here in the top right.
And that's a very, very lucky win for him. I mean, getting the first Zealot out and possibly the first Stalker if he does go, in fact, for the Cybercore right after this, and seeing that we have a gas for him as well. We will see that Cybercore go down. Getting that first Stalker and Zealot out there, he can do a lot of harassment. If Hydra was to go for a gasless expand, now we do have gas already out there, so we're going to have to watch what Hydra's build order is going to be. And that's really what's going to be the telltale sign. But as we have no tech lab going down on that barracks, he's going to have to deal with those Stalker pressure with only single Marine cycles coming out.
Oh man, I don't know how DarkHydra is still managing to scout the wrong position here down on the bottom right after HasuObs just walked right into his main. But it looks like DarkHydra does want to eventually plug this little choke between the main and the natural completely eventually. Right now building a factory here in the back. I have to imagine Marine Tank is going to be his build order of the day. And it looks like HasuObs has saved up quite a lot of minerals, so he's going to be expanding here at his natural in just a moment. He's got one Zealot out. I'm curious if he's just going to park it at that Xel'Naga Tower just because it's a cheap unit, and one Zealot's really not going to get a whole lot of work done on his own. Or if he could go try to harass, but against several Marines, that just doesn't really stand much chance. So probably, what are you going to do, HasuObs? Okay, just keep running with it. That's fine.
Yeah, right now he's actually not even making a Stalker. He delayed that Stalker by quite a lot, trying to get as much out before he really needed to commit to that Stalker's resources. And, just having this one Zealot comes in here, looks like he's going to try and do a little bit of harassment, but 3 Marines out here. Anybody who plays StarCraft Master knows that you only need 2 Marines to fend off 1 Zealot. But this Zealot's just going to get in here, get some really great scouting information, does see the reactor and the Hellion switch over there as well. So DarkHydra kind of playing his hand out right in the open there for HasuObs to get a good look at.
I really can't believe HasuObs went all the way in there with that Zealot and still managed to see everything. That's
Zealot
crazy.
Had a mission and he accomplished it perfectly.
That's right. DarkHydra actually did a decent split though, kept any of his Marines from getting too low. I think only 1 swipe got taken by that Zealot, and now he is finishing off that wall off between the main and the natural with a 3rd depot. Already has a bunker placed out there in case he wants to build a command center sometime soon, but right now he's still just building another barracks. No starport yet. That's kind of surprising. Usually with that kind of opener, you'll see just the transition into 1-1-1, so he can start doing drops and stuff like that. But HasuObs back at home, really just making Stalkers up to this point. Nothing exciting just yet. 2 more gateways being added on, and there'll be warp gates any second now.
Yeah, I really am interested in Hydra's build so far. He's going with a lot of Hellions right now, and Hellions are actually really, really good units against Protoss. Protoss try to limit their amount of gas intake as much as possible by popping out Stalkers and Sentries, just kind of limit as much as they can, try and get that econ up. But going with these Hellions, they're going to be able to get in there and do a lot of damage. There's only 1 Sentry, I think, out there on the map. No, I'm sorry, I thought I saw that being built, but there's no Sentries out on the map. There's only these 3 Stalkers here, so these 4 Hellions could be a bit of a burden for HasuObs to deal with. They can get in there and get a couple of probe kills.
I was thinking for a moment that HasuObs might be going for Blink Stalkers, but instead he's building that robotics facility. I mean, he still could go for Blink because all he has is Stalkers and just use that robotics facility to get a quick observer. But look at that. Hellion's actually trapping the Stalker. No Blink yet, so he is going to get trapped and probably killed all the way down. One Hellion does pay the price, though, for that Stalker. And HasuObs is going to be able to repel that without much effort. One Stalker for one Hellion is actually a good trade for DarkHydra, as he can just crank those Hellions out so fast with that reactor, and they're cheaper.
And you know, HasuObs made perfect use of the information he got with that Zealot before. He did see the Reactor Hellion build that was coming out from Hydra. Put down a nice little wall choke between his natural and his main with a robotics facility and a pylon and a Stalker to be like kind of a movable wall there. Beautiful play there by HasuObs, reading his opponent and knowing exactly what to do.
Yeah, so far so good. Both players sticking in very, very close unit counts. Actually, supply count, I mean. If you look at the unit tab, though, 41 probes for HasuObs, only 22 SCVs for DarkHydra. That's pretty insane. And now HasuObs is actually getting a good look at the entire army coming to his front door with that observer.
And not only an army, though, we also have a whole chain of SCVs coming with him as well. And this is going to be quite an interesting push. The Hellions go on around one edge while the rest of the push goes around into the front end. There's a lot of Stalkers, a couple of Zealots, but he's desperately trying to get out those Immortals to deal with those Marauders, I'm sure. And he might actually even lose this natural. Now, keep in mind that Hydra did not leave the rest of his forces back. He did keep some SCVs back at home, so this is not completely all in. But that robotics facility taking a lot of damage. Looks like it is going to be able to go down. The SCVs are trapped by a bunch of force fields, but the sentries are kind of lacking in energy right now. There's only one more force field to deal with. The Hellions are all getting picked off. The Marauders do stim and get away.
That one Immortal has 5 kills on it before finally being focused down by the Marines and the Marauders. They do have stim, which is, of course, a huge benefit to the Terran army, but I'm not sure if he has the firepower after all those SCVs were done tanking the damage. HasuObs still standing with a few units. Obviously, there's a lot of mining time denied as well, but DarkHydra never expanded himself, so he basically needs to kill HasuObs here, and I'm not sure if he's got enough to actually do it, as HasuObs can chrono boost these warp gates, get enough Stalkers out, and eventually pick off all of these Hellions and Marauders. I do see some units still streaming in from DarkHydra, but I'm curious if it's going to be enough.
I don't know, man. There's 3 Hellions out here, and those Hellions can kill probes in one salvo. So we'll have to see if so many probes are going to go down. Right now, 13 workers have been killed by Hasu, but only 7 by Hydra. And then remember that most of those workers that were killed by Hasu were pulled with Hydra's huge army.
Hydra did manage to pick off a pylon there, unpowering one of the warp gates, and if he can snag that second one, then HasuObs will basically be powerless. Is he going to focus down the pylon? Yes, he does, and it goes down before another round of warp. Oh, no, he did actually get 2 Stalkers in the back, but 2 Stalkers against that number of Hellions and Marauders is not very likely. We'll see if he takes out this other fresh pylon. Yes, he is going to get that as well. HasuObs in bad shape here. Only 2 Stalkers remaining, and those concussive shells slowing them down as they try to retreat. Looks painful for HasuObs.
And 3 more fresh Marauders coming into the fray as well. This is going to be able to stop any type of Stalker play. Now that pylon does get up and powers those 2 warp gates. Does he get any more units out? He gets 1 more Stalker. Another pylon does power the other warp gate, and another unit will be morphed in here. It's going to be 2 Zealots, but with so many Hellions out on the field and the extra damage they do against bonus, against light units, that Zealot goes down very quickly, and it looks like Hydra is in complete control of this game right now. This one warp gate desperately trying to warp in another Stalker, but with so many Marauders out here, that Stalker is going to go down very quickly. Not only that, but they also have stim, so this battle so far still going on for so many minutes. HasuObs desperately trying to keep his base intact, but might be able to fend this off. So many probes coming in now. The last Hellion trying to get those nice shots off, but 2 more do freshen up the force.
I'll be very surprised if HasuObs is able to fight back from this. He's not totally dead, but as the probe count drops lower and lower, DarkHydra not even actually building. He is building some more now, but they're on even worker count. Finally, those Marauders get surrounded and lasered to death by the plasma cutters of the probes. 1 Hellion remains. He does snag another. Oh no, 2 more Hellions sneak in now. These probes really don't have much of a chance. That whole time mining was interrupted. We saw HasuObs trying to keep mining, but the Hellions just blasting them down. Now only 4 probes remain after that last shot, and it's 1 Hellion versus 1 Stalker. 3 probes. I know if it were me, I would be GGing out of this thing.
Yeah, you know what? You got to keep your head up and hope that your opponent just spent everything in trying to do that. But HasuObs knows that, you know, after seeing all those reinforcements keep streaming in, there has to be some sort of income coming in here for Hydra. Those mules, of course, also being the brunt force of the income. And that's just, he doesn't have anything right now. He's got 4 workers. He's got an observer, but there's the GG.
That's it for game 1.